Limiting lean meat and overstepping boundaries with sustainable agriculture references. Why recent recommendations for dietary guidelines is really stirring up some controversy and creating excitement over every bite and learning where food comes from along the way. Check out a new project bringing agriculture into the classroom and addressing a shortage. What is being done to recruit FFA leaders and ag instructors? You're watching NTV's Grow. Welcome to the show tonight. Excluding lean meat from diets. It's part of a report that helps create dietary guidelines. These guidelines are the foundation for nutrition policy, education, outreach, and food assistance programs. They are reviewed every 5 years. It's like a manual for registered dietitians and health professionals as well.
The dietary guidelines are intended to improve the health of all Americans from age 2 to older. So they have a far-reaching impact on everything from our youth, adults, and senior citizens as well. And as dietary guidelines, they basically set the standard for a healthy dietary pattern. And while as consumers we may not consult them on a daily basis, they really set the policy for a lot of the government food programs, things like the school nutrition program, military and senior feeding as well. Then they also basically set the tone for a lot of the nutritional advice carried forward by our health professionals, people like registered dietitians, physicians, and cardiac rehab specialists as well.
Of course, not only is this a concern for nutritionists, those in the ag industry are speaking out, saying lean meat protein is a nutritional benefit. Governor Pete Ricketts says, quote, "It borders on travesty that lean meat is relegated to a footnote." And he also says the Dietary Guidelines Advisory Committee wonders from its true mission when referring to agricultural sustainability in the draft proposal. Kristen Hasselbrook from Nebraska Cattlemen explains why this is simply policy overreach and should not even be mentioned.
Members of the Dietary Guidelines Committee are tasked with making recommendations based on nutrition only. These are not experts in sustainability, so these recommendations are clearly outside their purview and should be disregarded. If you really want to talk about sustainability, I'd encourage this committee to speak to real experts, the ag producers in our state whose stewardship of land and resources has led to generations of success.
Nebraska Cattlemen will be submitting comments on behalf of the association, urging the USDA and HHS to reject any recommendations to remove lean meat from a healthful diet and to disregard the committee's unsubstantiated assertions regarding sustainability. You can comment on the Nebraska Cattlemen website until May 8th. Meanwhile, the U.S. Department of Agriculture reached an international agreement allowing U.S. beef and pork producers greater access to Mexico and Peru. Producers can now export slaughter cattle to Mexico and expand access to markets in Peru for U.S. fresh and chilled pork. Secretary of Ag Tom Vilsack calls the deals an opportunity for economic growth with the potential to import $15 million of live U.S. cattle per year. And Peru's market could generate $5 million annually in additional pork sales. Governor Ricketts announced his first international trade mission this summer. He will be making stops in Italy, Belgium, and Denmark. Ricketts says expanding the state's agriculture and business to a global scale is key to a strong economy. He also says the trip will help strengthen and build new relationships in Europe. Nebraska Cattlemen supports a move to advance a bill in the state legislature to provide certain immigrants the opportunity to have a driver's license. Those immigrants have deferred action for childhood arrival status, or DACA. Nebraska Cattlemen supports comprehensive immigration reform to ensure a thriving employee base for beef cattle producers. Wet conditions really kept that field work to a minimum. In the recent crop progress report, soil temperatures were too cool for row crop germination, with only a few cornfields planted. For the livestock report, cattle and calf conditions rated 73% good, 13 excellent. Calving progress, 76% complete. Sheep and lamb conditions, 73% good. Hay and roughage supplies rate 87 accurate. As far as planting intentions for Nebraska corn farmers, USDA reports acres equal to last year's total. Farmers will spend about $280 an acre to get that crop in the ground and off to a good start. With the estimated 9.3 million corn acres to be planted in Nebraska, That means more than $2.6 billion investment by the state's corn farmers just over a 2-month period. That amount does not include land cost, labor, or equipment, and it's purely inputs like seed, fuel, and fertilizer. Looking beyond those initial inputs, the full economic impact corn has in Nebraska will more than double in a year. Boone McCaff, director of Market Development and Research at the Nebraska Corn Board, says, quote, the full economic impact of the corn industry in Nebraska over the year is greater than $6 billion. When the corn crop is harvested, its economic impact grows significantly as it's converted into meat, milk, eggs, ethanol, distillers' grains, bioplastics, and more. That is why it is critical to get the corn planted and off to a good start in the spring. Nebraska farmers being nationally recognized as a leading expert in preserving farmland while still turning a profit. Kevin Fulton spoke at UNK about how farmers should look at producing more with less, using cover crops, no-till farming, more grass-based farming, and he wants people to put animals on the land regardless of what they produce. Fulton also wishes people would evaluate how they farm and for consumers to think about how your food is being produced.
But I don't care what you're doing, but you need to be accountable for what you're doing and how it affects the people around you, downwind, downstream, across the fence in your community, and then transparency. If you're going to be producing food for people, it's your obligation to let them know how it's produced and what you're putting in that food.
Fulton Farms is a 2,000-acre organic grazing operation in Sherman County. Ag education in the classroom is expanding by leaps and bounds. More FFA programs are popping up, and that means there's a demand for teachers. So a teacher loan program helps meet that need. The NFBFA started a scholarship and loan assistance program offering scholarships to students studying agriculture education at UNL. The 2015 deadline for applications is May 1st. Those applications can be found at nefb.org. Getting kids to eat their vegetables has always been a tough task to swallow, it seems, but with the addition of a greenhouse at Litchfield Public Schools, kids not only eat their greens, they're excited with every bite. Zach Ritchie has more in tonight's Food Finds.
All right, who wants another carrot snack? Raise your hand.
At Litchfield Public Schools, they're doing the unthinkable.
You never thought you would see students excited about vegetables, but they are.
The excitement stems from the school's brand new greenhouse.
I like it because we can buy stuff from it, and you can grow like food in the winter.
Trotter Fertilizer built the greenhouse right next door to their brand new facility in town. They worked with the school to provide kids a place to get their thumbs a little green.
I would love to do it again because you get out of classes.
Construction wrapped up in January.
We're in baby steps. We want to get it a lot more into the curriculum next year.
And the kids were pulling radishes already in February.
I liked that program because you can see how your vegetables are growing from start to finish, and you actually get to eat them.
Students grow and harvest the cucumbers, carrots, and tomatoes, where they end up on the menu in the cafeteria.
The freshness of the garden and the fresh vegetables and everything has really worked into our program, and it's also really helped to meet the requirements of the state.
Just being proud of our community here. Litchfield is paving the way for other schools and communities to follow right along behind them.
The veggies don't only have roots in the greenhouse, but have also been used in the classroom to study fractions.
What are you going to break it into?
I think you could tell by the smiles on their faces that they certainly enjoy this, and they get a healthy snack out of it, which they absolutely love.
And in the art room, where kids created ads for their project.
Just knowing that what they are working on is going to be in a paper, I think just helps them take it very seriously.
Excitement grows with every plant.
They're taking ownership of it. What helped us is we gave each one of them a vegetable, and that turned out to be their vegetable that they had to take care of.
Students cultivate a lifelong learning experience. For this week's Food Finds, Zach Ritchie, Litchfield.
During the summer months, Trotter will hire several students to sell vegetables and flowers at the greenhouse. Now, students from Nebraska College of Technical Agriculture fight cancer in the show ring. The Punchy in Pink Spring Roundup was their first nationally approved working ranch horse competition. The ranch horse team raised money for breast cancer awareness during a show in McCook. Collegiate teams, open division riders, youth and competitors of all ages were able to participate. This last week, the governor proclaimed Nebraska's Rodeo Week. Governor Ricketts made the announcement as he joined the UNL Rodeo team for a horseback ride down Donahue Boulevard near the state capitol. The 57th annual UNL Rodeo kicked off April 17th. For more information, you can visit the group's Facebook page. Ag education is not being dismissed as a new Nebraska University president takes a tour of Nebraska. While stopping at UNK this week, the president, Hank Bounds, has this to say about ag education in Nebraska.
Huge. You know, you do $22 billion of ag production. We have an enormous extension service. We have research facilities across the state. We have researchers that are doing things like really understanding the right mix of feed to feed cows to get better performance out of them. You know, work on pesticides, work on carbon sequestration out of the land, working on producing more food with less water. All of those things helps farmers and ranchers produce more and better with less cost.
What's being done to help with a few growing pains that come along with the fast expansion of FFA? Details coming up, and check out this video sent in by a local producer. Remember, you can send in videos as well. Just email grow@nebraska.tv. We'll be back.
New one. Watched it happen.